right, welcome friends. Thank you all for joining us on this lovely Wednesday. If you don't know me, my name is Hannah. I lead email and community at GrowClass. You've probably seen me poking around your inbox, so it's nice to meet you if we've not met before. If you're not familiar with GrowClass, we're a 6-week growth marketing course and community filled with founders, marketers, and freelancers. We teach folks the skills they need to grow their careers and their businesses. So GrowClass is actually open for pre-enrollment right now. If anyone's interested in peeking or learning more about GrowClass, and I can drop a link in the chat for you. But today, I'm really excited to learn how to build an SEO machine that gets 100,000 page views per month with Sukhpal Saini. So Sukh is the CEO and co-founder of Engyne. He's a repeat founder, builder, and a growth expert. He now consults for numerous Bay Area startups on growing and using SEO and content marketing. So I'll drop Sukh's links in the chat for you. Here you can find him on LinkedIn and his website. So if you have any questions for Sukh, we do have time for a Q&A at the end of this session. So feel free to unmute yourself or drop your questions in the chat. You can also send me a private message if you're feeling a little bit shy, and I'll ask it on your behalf. Just a reminder, there's no such thing as a dumb question. We're all here to learn. This is a judgment-free zone. So we just ask that you keep it kind and respectful. And yeah, with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to Sukh so we can learn how to build an SEO machine that gets 100,000 page views per month. Over to you, Sukh.
Amazing.
Thanks for
Amazing.
coming.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. And by the way, let me tell you how great it is to see everybody with their cameras on. It's always weird to do a presentation with nobody's because you're always like, oh, who am I talking to? So really appreciate that you guys have your audio and video on as well. Let me share my screen and we can get this show on the road. I think you should be able to see my screen. Okay, cool. Slides, right? I have 2 screens going on. Okay, cool. So today we're going to be talking about building an SEO machine that gets 100K page views a month. We're specifically going to be talking about B2B SaaS companies or like that kind of content. I am an expert in that specifically. So, and thank you so much for GrowClass for having me on. So what we'll cover is I'm going to actually share with you all of my secret sauce. Honestly, that's what I'm going to do. What my hope is that when you get your head of content growth strategy role, that you'll come back to this presentation and use this as your textbook. That's what I want you to do, okay? And so for that, I'm gonna give you the 3 ingredients that you need for SEO. Then I'm gonna tell you, how do you come up with content ideas and actually my little trick to convert ideas into good titles that people wanna click on. And a third thing we're gonna talk about is, this is what most marketers actually miss, which is we have people coming onto the website. How do we convert them into customers? Nobody actually does this properly. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we're going to wrap it up with how do we build backlinks. In fact, a couple of months ago, we got a backlink from HubSpot, which is, I think is as high as the domain ranking goes. I think 98, 99 is the domain ranking. And so I'm going to show you how we did that as well. Yeah, like Hannah mentioned, I'm a founder and I'm a builder as well. And I was a growth expert. I actually started off by working engineering at the IBM, Apple, and Saks Fifth Avenue. IBM, I actually was in Markham, if you know the area. And but for the last couple of years, I've taken a liking to growth. So I've been consulting a bunch of startups. You've seen like YC, Techstars. Those are kind of people we work with. Why should you trust me? The big thing. So this is one of our customers. They've gone from like 3K to 300K in traffic. This is per month. And you can see around August last year is when they were just like seeing nothing. And all of a sudden they have like this spike up. So all the stuff that I'm telling you is coming off of real work that we've done with this customer and other customers as well. All right, so we already have one topic in mind, which is like building this SEO machine, but I have 2 other things, subtopics that we can touch upon if you are interested at the end, if we don't have any QA, on how do you convince your boss for SEO, like if you should invest in SEO, or the other one is is content marketing obsolete because of AI? Like, what do I think about that? I'm happy to share those thoughts as well at the end. All right, let's get the show going. 3 simple ingredients that you need for an SEO strategy. And this is the priority list of how you want to tackle these as well. So first, you want to think about content. Then you want to think about how do you convert people that are coming onto the page into customers with conversion optimization. And third thing you want to look at is backlinking. There's a specific reason why you want to do things this way, and I'll share that as we go along. Before we get into it, I want to show, this is the blueprint for SEO. This is what we're trying to do with SEO. I think a lot of people get into the weeds of, hey, where do we get the backlinks from? Hey, what keywords are we going for? Removing all that stuff, this is what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is there is a person that has a problem that has gone to Google for an answer. What we want to do is we want to write content where they come in and they read our stuff and they find some sort of value. They find either a solution, a tip, a trick, an insight. If you do this enough, and 7x is the rule of thumb, if they come onto your site 7 times, if I come to your site 7 times and I'm like, every single time these guys are solving my problem, 8th time, I'm gonna become a customer, right? Most people try to hijack this process by just like writing stuff for ranking that doesn't actually provide any value. Well, there's no, that person doesn't provide any value. They're just bouncing off. They're never going to actually become a customer. So, and the companies and the organizations that you're going to work for, they really care about customers. That's what they care about. They don't care about page views. They don't care about how many content pieces we're putting out. It's how many people are becoming customers. That is the thing we're trying to solve. I love examples, and everything I'm going to show you has examples with it. So here is like what this looks like. Let's say you're working for an analytics app, kind of like Google Analytics, which I know you guys just went through the cohort with that. So as a customer or as a person that's searching on Google, I have a question of like, hey, how do I see who is on my site? I go to Google and I see your article that says, hey, the ultimate guide to tracking your user activity on your site step by step. I'm like, this is exactly what I want to learn. This is what I need. I jump into it. It tells me, hey, install GA first and set this thing up, set this thing up. I'm like, oh, perfect. These guys know what they're talking about. I'm just going to go ahead and like sign up for a free trial. And if I don't do it first time, 8th time around, I'm definitely going to give it a shot, right? So this is what a content strategy is supposed to accomplish. Let's jump into the 3 points that I mentioned. First one is, what do we write about? The content part. By the way, I have QR codes on all my slides, or most of them. So if you want to take out your phone, I have a Notion workspace that goes even more in depth into kind of like how to like come up with content ideas. So if you want more information, you can like do that. And I think Hannah can also drop the actual link in there too. So if you have a phone with a QR code scanner, you're in luck. This is exactly what you need it for. Okay, so how do you source good ideas? Most people actually start with keyword research. I don't. I actually put it as a last resort. The last thing that you want to do if you run out of ideas from all the other sources is then go to keyword research on Ahrefs. But you want to start with interviewing your existing customers. So you want to figure out the customer that you're trying to attract or the product you're selling. What are the jobs to be done? So for example, I am a marketer and I need to set up my CRM. That is a job to be done. I want to set up my CRM. So you want to, whenever you work for a company, you want to list out these jobs to be done. Who are your ICPs and what job do they need to get done that we can help with? Then you want to talk about or like ask them, hey, what are your daily struggles? It doesn't even have to have anything to do with your product, but hey, what is the thing that keeps you up at night? What are the things that like look for sentences that say, I wish I could do XYZ, or I wish this was different. So those are the pain points that you want to capture in your notepad as you're like interviewing users. And the last part, if you have existing users, this is great because they can tell you what their life was before they found you and what their life is now that they found you. If you have this information, you can actually create blog posts around it or content around it, where other people that have this problem and haven't found a solution can come in and have the same sort of transformative experience that your existing customers have had. Second part of after you're done your interviewing users, this should actually get you a content strategy for the next 3 to 6 months if done properly. The next thing you want to look at is competitor research, so figuring out what other people in your industry have already written about. It's a really good cheat code to figuring out like they've already done the hard work. So you can just go in and say, hey, this resonates with me. I think this resonates with my customer as well. This might be. So you can go, sort of go like cherry picking and just go like open up like 10 tabs, go to all your competitors, figure out what they're writing, and bring those ideas into your content strategy. Lastly, then you want to go to keyword research. Then you want to be like, okay, let's figure out what the KD is, what the volume is, and what can we write about. Most people actually flip this thing and go keyword research first. The issue with that is when I have a keyword like SEO, for example, you just have that keyword. You don't know why somebody would search that up or like what the point of that is and how you're going to be able to sell your software if you rank for that keyword. So you don't have any like context around it. And that's why starting with keyword research is, in my opinion, kind of detrimental. So start off with actually learning by your customers, what they're dealing with day to day, and then what they need from you, then create titles out of it, or then create content out of it. Examples. Plenty of them. So how do you interview your users, or like how does that look like? So if I'm working for an analytics app like Google Analytics, I might be talking to an e-commerce store owner and they might be like, okay, I'm selling all my stuff, but I don't know who's buying, like what countries are buying. Is it male, female that are buying? What are all these information that I don't know where to find this information, right? So that is a job to be done. They want to know the information and they don't know how to do it. Or maybe a founder is like, I'm selling again, but I don't know what country I'm getting my customers from. Are they mostly from North America? Are they from other countries? I don't know. So I can't do my marketing campaign because I don't know which country they're from. Or maybe it's a writer that is writing a lot of essays and they don't know how long people read my essays for. Is it somebody that looks at my essay and says, it's complete crap, and just like goes back? Or do they sit on it for 10, 20, 30 minutes? Because if it is 10, 20, 30 minutes, then I know I'm doing a good job and I can continue on this thing. So these are all real jobs that these folks actually need to do. And a pain point could be, I'm a marketer, just like yourselves, and I don't know how to code an analytics software because I'm assuming you need a lot of code to set up, like figure out where my customers are moving from. And I don't know how to do that. That is a pain point, right? So these are examples of the ways you can actually bring out the pain and the jobs to be done from doing customer interviews. The second part is competitor research. So this is, again, you go to different websites and figure out what they're writing. Let me show you an example of this. I think Matomo is like a Google Analytics alternative. So literally how I would do this, I would go to their blog. So they have a blog and hopefully they have a lot of blog posts. So they have like 48 pages of it. Perfect. So they've already done the hard work and I can go in and see. So they're talking about themselves, how to design an API. Maybe this is interesting. Hello, let's go to the plugins. They're talking about how to install. Yeah, bloggers blog about stuff. So basically I'll go through, and I think like the first couple of pages are like probably better ones and not so much self-promotional. But yeah, this one, like fintech marketing strategies, fintech content marketing, different laws. So these are all great ideas. And because you have Ahrefs, we can actually just jump in and see how much traffic, for example, this article is getting. So we can see like this thing is only ranking for 2 keywords, which is like the name of the laws. Or we can just do like an even bigger search and say, we can find out the top pages that are getting the traffic. So on the blog, so they're talking about last click attribution. They're talking about sales, funnel optimizations, lead generation tools. So this is a good way to like drop their link in your competitors, either go manually one by one, or you can just drop in here and then see what pages are getting the most traffic and then go from there. This would become like, if you take like top 10, 20 different pages from here, that becomes your content strategy for the next 3 months. Simple. And this is only one competitor that we've looked at. Okay, so that's how I came up with these three answers or ideas. And last one is, like I was mentioning, you do keyword research, same as before. I think you've already learned this, but a refresher basically is you go to Keyword Explorer in Ahrefs, and you can do some like conversion optimization. And this will give you like the traffic for that keyword. So this is like all of the traffic, this is global search volume, but then it gives you like other ways of saying the same thing. So maybe like you want to look at conversion rate optimization agencies. Maybe that's a service you're offering. So take a look at that. Okay, that's decent KD and this good search volume. So just going off of these, you can then create a content list as well, or like content ideas. A good thing also to do is just search this up and see like what kind of things are coming up. Sometimes you might expect one thing to come up. Like if I search up like paddle, for example, it's a company, but sometimes it shows actual paddles here, which can be like problematic, especially if you're starting out. So you want to make sure that the stuff that you're writing, keyword you're picking, actually is relevant. So those are the three different ways I like to come up with ideas. But these aren't like ready to write yet. They're just ideas. How you convert from ideas to titles is using this formula. So I have two formulas here. You do idea, and then in brackets, you write without the difficulty, or you want to promise them something. So the last here, we had talked about, I'm a marketer and I don't know how to code. Well, this person wants to know how to do conversion optimization, but they don't know how to code. Perfect. You can do how to set up analytics for your e-commerce store, no code required, right? So you're calling out, hey, don't worry, I know you don't know how to code, so this guide is actually perfect for you. Or how to promote your app and get more users without a large following. Or what is privacy-friendly analytics, be GDPR compliant. So GDPR compliant is actually the promise of benefit, right? Because if you just take out the bracket part and just read the title, it's just telling you, hey, read this for informational purposes. Nobody wants to read things just to read things. They want to get something done. In this case, why a business cares about privacy-friendly analytics is because they're like, we're in EU and we need to be GDPR compliant yesterday. Okay, this is going to help me do this. Perfect, right? So you really get people clicking through by doing these little tricks on converting an idea into a title. Writing a good title is a skill that not a lot of people have, but this is a formula to do so. Again, I have some more title templates that you can like just steal and use for your own. So you can take a little screenshot of this if you want to. I'll stay here for like a second or so. And I think Hannah, if you could drop the link in as well, and I would be happy to. Cool. So you can copy from there too. Great. So we have some content now. And the reason why you start with content is you can't do conversion optimization on something you don't have. So you need to have some content to convert people on. So we're going to figure out when people are coming to the website, how do we convert them? Literally, it's a one slide example. I don't have any more slides on this because it's this simple and most people miss this. Okay. So this is actually Engyne's blog. And you can see we have 3 conversion points. There's one on the top right, and there's one on the sidebar. It's a sticky one, and there's one in the content itself. So at some point, when somebody is like, I've got enough value from these people, I wish I could pay them, we'll make it easy for them by having a link in there. And you'd be surprised how many marketers actually don't do this, or like the way the thought process goes is, once I have people looking at the pages, then I'll think about how to convert them. But yet you have to think about both those processes at the same time. So that's why when you have, let's say 10, 20 blog posts, figure out how to convert them right away. And then you can always iterate on them, but have these 3 things available. And I'll show you what this looks like. So if you go on Engyne AI/blog/Google Search Console, on this page, so this is the CTA I'm talking about. So if I click on like start for free, it'll actually drop me into the app. And if I scroll down, this is the sidebar CTA. So if I kind of keep scrolling, it just gets stuck there. So I'm always the user, when they're reading this thing, there's always 2 ways for them to convert. And then the third way is as they're reading, there's a conversion point here as well. We do another thing, by the way, if you're on mobile, then if you scroll kind of like halfway, it comes from the bottom as well. That's a fancy fourth one. You don't have to do this one, but you at least want to have this 1, 2, 3 going so that people are converting. And your organization, by the way, cares about you're going to be graded on how many customers or MQLs you're bringing. So having these links here means that you can track them. So you can add tracking code like a Google Analytics code to them to figure out, hey, from this blog post, 10 people came in last month. This will make your job much easier, and you can explain to your bosses why they got to pay you what they got to pay you, right? Okay, let's keep going. All right, so that's everything. So if you do these 3 things, you're golden, you're good to go. You don't need it to do anything else. Maybe just adding a Google Analytics tag would be helpful too. Last piece is backlinks, okay? Again, you want to do backlinks now is because now you have content and you have people converting. Now with backlinks, you can actually get more people coming into your site because you can be moving up in search results. So nobody goes to page 4 for an answer on Google. They always want to be on page 1. You know, if you're on the 2nd, 3rd spot, perfect. So you want to do backlinks right after you do content and then conversion optimization to get your get a bigger bang for your buck, essentially. All right, so this is how backlinks work, by the way. So it's actually a pretty great story because this is how Google became the way it is. On the left is how search engines used to work. So search engines would be like, if you on the page said a word multiple times, well, they're like, okay, this guy says that they're cool, so I'm gonna move them up in search results. So people just started spamming pages with like the same keyword. So I'll have SEO written 100,000 times, and I'll be like on the top of search results. That's how it used to work on the left. What Google came up with is this algorithm called PageRank, where they were specifically looking at if other people think that you're cool for a specific topic. So if Grow Class links to me for SEO and another company links to me for SEO, another company links to me for SEO, that means Google is like, okay, this person is great, we're gonna rank them higher. And this was the way kind of like Google separated themselves and how search results got a bit less spammy. And this is how it actually works. And this is why you need backlinks. You need somebody to say to you, hey, they're great. Like, he's cool or he's okay. You can all be winners, but somebody's gonna be a little bit negative. So this is why you need backlinks, right? So this is the backstory. Now, as a marketer, how do you get backlinks for people? You actually want to start off with these foundational ones. If you don't have any backlinks, like for example, backlinks, when I talk about this, I'm looking at, if I go to evenengine.ai, this is the number of backlinks I'm talking about. So if I jump in, you can see like what kind of websites are linking back to us. So if that number is like less than, I would say 100, then you want to do, let's go back here. So if this number is actually even less than 50, then you want to start off with foundational backlinks. This is like quick things you can do to get those backlinks. They're not super high quality, but you have to start somewhere, right? So this is where you would start off with. What you want to do is things like, hey, make posts on Reddit and then link back to you guys. Make company accounts, so like social media accounts on Twitter, LinkedIn and stuff like that. You want to submit to like Crunchbase if you're a B2B SaaS company, and create just general profiles everywhere, just so you have some sort of link back coming to you. There's also these amazing directories where you can list yourself. So if I go back to this one, you can see this is a list of all directories. So these are all lists I can like submit my product to. It'll take like a day or two to do these, but they'll give you a link back. And they all have a domain authority ranking next to it, so you know which ones are the most useful and which ones are not. So for example, like Indie Hackers is a really good one. You can actually set up a product here and they'll give you a backlink. Pretty easy to set up. So if you do all these things, you should have like your first 20 to 30 backlinks immediately. So one of the other things I do is you can also write for others or appear on podcasts. So I've done like 9, 10 podcasts in the last year or so, and all of them link back to my different profiles. And that's the way I build backlinks as well. time consuming, but because you don't have any authority, this is kind of like where you have to start off with, right? Over time, people would start understanding who you are and like how important you are in the problem you're solving, and then they would want to like link to you afterwards, but you gotta start from here. Now, if you crush this thing, next go to here. So this is my secret sauce. So you want to get high quality backlinks, go to feature.com. I'll show you feature.com if you haven't seen this before. Yeah. So feature.com actually has a list of writers and the content that they're writing. So a writer from Forbes is writing about medical experts, or HubSpot is writing about sales experts, and so on and so forth. So basically, they're looking for opinions or insights from other people. Well, you can be that expert that comes in and kind of answers their questions. And if you do so and you get picked, then they include your answer plus a backlink to your website. Fantastic way to build backlinks. And these are very, very high quality websites as well. The only issue is it takes a bit of time, but that's why you want to do this after you've done foundational stuff. So feature.com is great. The other one, if you're in B2B, this is great. Help a B2B writer. They actually have a Slack channel as well. But if you go and see today's requests, scroll down, you'll same thing. You'll find people asking for, hey, we need like call tips. This is from HubSpot. We need benefits of tutoring, so on and so forth. And if something is relevant here, you can actually answer these folks. The hit rate, meaning like the rate at which you get picked, is actually pretty high. I've done maybe like 10 to 20 of them, and like 4 or 5 have gone back with the backlink, which is fantastic. So like the amount of work that you do for the benefit you get, pretty substantial. And on that note, I'll show you. So from here, I answered one of the HubSpot ones, and that's how I got this one. Where is it? Backlinks. If I go like HubSpot, for example, here. Oh, actually, it's right here. So like HubSpot's domain ranking is 93. Insane. This really moves the needle for all of your blog posts to move up in search results. So a link back from HubSpot is fantastic. And like that's where we are. You see this right here. So again, same thing I did was I answered one of the questions, I got picked, they put me in there, and I got a backlink. Yeah, so you want to submit pitches every week, and if you get accepted, you get a high quality backlink from there. Now, if you want to build backlinks at scale, this is an even bigger secret. Okay, what you want to build is like you want to build free tool pages. So think of things like the free tools that you use, maybe like PNG to WebP converter or YouTube video converter, like those things you use randomly throughout the day. Well, those are free tools that if you create them, people want to link to you on their own without you doing anything with them. So let me show you an example. Here is the list of, so here's a tool I have, which is you put in a website and I will tell you, hey, what the title, description, image of that URL. It's a free tool, but it gets a lot of people looking at it, and a lot of people link back to here because it's genuinely useful and it's free. So imagine somebody writing an article on SEO. It makes sense for them to link to here because they want to provide value to their readers, and this is an easy thing to provide value with. So this way, if you have really good tools, free tools that you've created, people automatically want to backlink to you. Right, coming back to the diagram that I had, where everybody's like, oh, this tool is great, this tool is great, this tool is great. Well, guess what? Your tool is actually going to go higher up in rankings and the rest of your website as well. Okay, well, then you're asking, hey, Sukh, I get that you're saying build tools. How do I know which tools to build? Here's how. So go to Ahrefs, go right here, go to Keyword Explorer, and you just want to just leave it empty and just search. Go to more filters, or go to include actually, and go to any word, and you want to put in things like builder, generator, like maker, maybe even like free tool. And when you apply these, it's gonna show you all those keywords and the related kind of like ranking or like keyword difficulty and the volume as well. Yeah, just take a look at the volume that these guys have. You see like in the millions or like in the thousands as well, 100,000s. So QR code generator, password generator, yeah, art generator, like these are massive volumes. If you can get these tools built out. Now, the keyword difficulty is pretty high. What we can do is let's go to, show me 0 to 40. Yeah, so here we go. So most of them, this doesn't make sense, but maybe like AI text generator, that makes sense. It's 33 and it's 60K traffic, possibly more, because you're not going to be ranking for one keyword. You're going to be ranking for like many keywords. So this is just one keyword that's going to bring you 60K. Waffle maker is not the right one. Fake name generator. So you can like get a lot of ideas from here, and this is a great way to come up with a couple of ideas and justify that, hey, we should spend some dev resources to build these free tools out, so we can get backlinks automatically, right? That's kind of like what we do as well. So if you go just /tools, you'll see like we have a couple of them created for us as well, right? So these will actually get you backlinks at scale for free without doing any work, assuming that you create a tool in the first place. That's actually everything I have. So again, just to reiterate, what you want to do is first you want to create content, then you want to set up your conversion optimization, and you want to you want to add analytics to it so you can track who's moving, where, and who is buying. And then you want to do this backlinking work that you have. Yeah, so the last thing is, by the way, so writing good content actually takes a lot of time. So you do research for a while, you do writing with your writers, and you do analytics. With Engyne, I'm building a no-code tool that kind of like does this automatically, or like helps you with this. So we train your content on AI, like your website. We tell you the keyword that you need to write for, we help you write, we show you results as well. And because you're so cool, we also have a special code for you guys for 50% off for the next 3 months as well. With that, I will open it up to questions. And in the comments, as you're listening, what's the one thing that was most useful to you? I would love to hear that part as well.
That was awesome. Thank you, Sukh, for sharing your secret sauce with us. Definitely will open up the floor. I know we had one question at the beginning that I'll scroll back up to. Candice was wondering, usually how long does it take you to complete the step of sourcing content ideas?
It should be, you want to create like a content plan for maybe next 3 months. So if you're thinking about doing one a week, you're thinking about like 12 content like ideas essentially. So I typically like to come up with 20 content ideas at one time, and it will take me maybe a week to do so, or like faster if I've done it like quite a bit of times, but around a week. But if you have to do like the customer interviews, and obviously it's going to take a little bit longer to figure out who the customers are, and like how do you get in touch with them so they actually want to talk to you.
Awesome. We got Ariane in the chat. She's commenting, we're finishing up a calculator for our site, so it's great inspiration to get it done.
Oh, amazing.
To get it out there for backlinks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a one I forgot. So yeah, so in the thing I showed you in the keywords, calculator is another good one. But in calculator, people search for them all the time. So that's another way of like, there you go. Number 5 keywords now you can search up.
See, Dana, you got your hand up, and then we'll go back to the chat after.
Yeah, thanks so much, Hannah. My question is just around like, how do you determine what type of content that you should focus on? Like there's top of funnel, middle, as well as bottom. I know that like in your examples, you kind of looked at competitors as well as like general like jobs to be done sort of questions, but curious if there's another layer on top of that.
Yeah, great question. And so if you're looking at it from a buyer's perspective, like from a buyer's journey, always start with bottom of the funnel. So you want to do bottom of the funnel, then you learn. So bottom of the funnel for B2B SaaS would be like X tool versus Y tool, or X tool alternatives, X pricing, that kind of stuff. And then you want to do middle of the funnel, so which would be case studies, checklists, stuff like that. Then you want to do like top of the funnel, which is what is XYZ, or like why should you be doing YZ. The reason you want to do it this way is because the conversions are the highest at the bottom of the funnel. So because you are, again, if you're a head of content, a growth expert at a company, you want to show your value right away. So you want to create these bottom of the funnel content and then get a lot of conversions and come back to your bosses and say, hey, by the way, we created 10 pieces last month and they resulted in 20 sales. And if this is why we should continue paying me and continue investing more in content.
Lovely. Got another question in the chat from Ariana. Do you think this SEO secret sauce is applicable to using social media or search tools? Search engine, sorry. To using social media as a search engine.
Oh, as in like if you're creating content for TikTok, for example, or YouTube?
Let's see if Ariana's here. I want to speak.
Yeah, if you want to come up and okay, cool. Yeah, I think, by the way, it's a great way of like, again, this is not only for like blog content, but again, yeah, it's content for like even social media. Yeah, it would work. So as long as you like by interviewing your customers, you're like uncovering the real pain and the real jobs to be done. And now it's just a matter of how you want to communicate that over to your customer. Like on TikTok, it would be, a minute video. On blog, it would be a longer article around 1,000 words. So the ideas you can source this way, but based on the type of format that you're going for, then you have to change up your messaging or like how you're communicating the value.
So thank you. And then Naveen is asking, do you have any tips for smaller businesses regarding backlinks?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's actually hard work, right? So there are paid backlinks as well, but the most of the times they work, the way they work is it'll be a website and somebody would say, hey, if you give me $100, I'll get a link back to your site. Most of the times it's kind of a waste of money because they're doing that with 100 to 200 different people as well. And it's typically not relevant. So again, in this diagram, what's relevant is that if you're this person, this website that's linking back to you has to be somehow related. This person has to be related as well. This person has to be related as well. If I'm writing about B2B SaaS and somebody who is an ice cream website is linking back to me, that doesn't do much for me. So when you're a small business, you want to start with these ones. This should actually get you pretty far. But writing for others is a great way. So not everybody has the capacity or writing capacity to basically like write for themselves. So if you just hit up another small business and say, hey, by the way, I am happy to like write something for you because we're in the same niche, same industry. Would you be open for that? Most of the times they'll say yes. And then that way you can write up the post and you can have a link back to you. So that would work as well.
Thank you. So Osama, you got your hand up, and then we'll go back to the chat.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sukh, for today's presentation. It was really useful. I definitely also found a lot of value in the backlinks part of your presentation. When you spoke about building up those job to be dones and interviewing your customers to really figure out those pain points. In terms of those interviews, what kind of like channels, or not channels, but what kind of resources do you think are like, can you recommend any resources that we can build those interviews off of? Or
yeah, that's a good question of like, hey, how do we figure those out? The one I would recommend is like, can I do, the mom test is a good one. So this is how do you talk to your customers? This book actually has like the 10, 20 different questions that you want to ask. It's a very founder focused one, but I think to understand the jobs to be done, you need to think like a founder as well, to figure out like who your customer is and why they're buying from you. This is a good one. How to talk to customers. There's a YC video that kind of goes through as well. How do you talk to user? So any of these three ones actually do go through the questions. But if you just like ask, look for like mom test interview questions. I've done this many times before talking to people. Yeah, asking the right questions. This actually should have the questions that you need.
We have a link to the mom test inside the Grow class
Oh,
curriculum
perfect.
as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
feel free to download
Oh,
that.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So you should have questions from here. A couple of questions that I like to ask, just if you were to ask me, and like if I was doing an interview, I really like to challenge people and say, ask more why questions or how questions. So if you say something like, hey, I need to know where my customers are coming from. Why? Well, I want to know, like, who's buying. Well, why? Well, the more I know about my customer, like where they're coming from, I can like put more money into ads for that country. Okay, now I understand, right? So the real problem is, how do I optimize my ad spending by knowing where my customers are coming from? Like that's the deeper pain inside it. So you don't want to stop at the top layer, but keep asking how and why, and they'll tell you like a lot more information.
Yeah, I think you've answered my question by that part, especially. Thank you. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Osama. We got Kathy in the chat. She's asking, when we create a tool, is it a bad idea to use a different URL with a different domain name?
Yeah, so typically everything that you have on your website, you want to keep it on your domain. So for example, if I have my website is Engyne AI, I want to keep things on that domain. So it would be like tools/123. Anything that's like randomtools.com, whatever, it actually doesn't help me my main domain rank. Even if you have a subdomain like tools.engyne, this actually wouldn't help either. So you want to keep everything on the same domain and have your tools be on like /blog/tools/resources. That's the way SEO works.
Awesome. Thank you. Got a question from Hashim. He's wondering if you have any tips to develop real estate blogs and listings.
It's a hard question. It's completely out of my expertise. The only tip I can really give you is probably looking at other people that are in your industry and like how they're doing it. So real estate it's for a real estate website, or it's for a real estate agent, because those are two different things. Agents of brokerage. Okay, so this is like a personal or like a business website for like a real estate agent. I think so. In that case, you can do a lot of location-based stuff. So like things like best real estate agent in Toronto, in Ottawa, in Brampton, that kind of stuff. So you want to write more content around that. Literally writing more content is the way to go for that.
Awesome. Thank you. Got a question from Steven. He's wondering if you can provide a quick demo of using Engyne to set up an SEO strategy.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that as well. By the way, if there is a little bit more, somebody wants to know, like, is content marketing dead? I only have one picture, and it's this one. Let me show you this. So this is a way you want to think about, like, if content marketing is dead, by the way. And I think before everybody leaves, this is something I want to like say, which is like ChatGPT and like other marketing tools actually give you the raw materials. So on the left, I have all the ingredients for a car. What businesses care about is having a car and driving it. So you are the person that converts that stuff into the results. And that's how you want to like take these things. So even Engyne that we're building it's supposed to help you make like get to results faster. It's not supposed to replace you. So with that, I can kind of show you what that looks like. So you've seen the blog that we have, like /blog. This is actually run by Engyne, and we do SEO optimization out of the box. And all the CTAs that I showed you as well, like this one and this one example, those are all set up by Engyne. You can see on the top bottom right here. Yeah, so the way you can do this, so within keyword research, you can actually go look at your competitors' keywords. And this will give you like the top keywords that are relevant to your business. So you can save them here. And then once you have a list of saved ones, you can ask it to create a content brief, and it will go out and tell you, hey, for this blog post, you want to write best practices and up-to-date guidelines, and you want to have about 5,000 words, 20 headings. These are the background research if you want to like actually read out what other people are writing about this topic. This is what the content brief should look like. So it gives you everything. Typically, you would do this by hand and like write these out. So once you have a content brief, then you can actually start writing. So this is what the writing process is. Like ultimate guide to SEO. And what you can do is ultimate guide to SEO. So instead of like generating an article for you, what we do is we actually just ask you questions. So this will like start like ask you 3 or 4 questions around what you think about different topics. Take those things and convert into a blog post. So this is much, much better than you writing an article on your own and just not knowing if it's SEO optimized or not. And the last piece is the analytics. Here we'll show you, you can just take a screenshot of this and send it to your boss. It shows you the impressions you're having on Google, how many people are coming in and reading. And then most importantly, this number, which is how many people are converting. So you can always go back and make a case of, hey, this post is getting us 2 conversions in the last week. We should write more of this kind of content, or this blog post hasn't actually done much for us. So let's just like not write that kind of stuff anymore. So that's kind of like what we do.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. And then again, if you want to, like, I have a promo code. I would love for you guys to use it and try it out. It is going to expire at the end of the week. So if you want to try that out,
Appreciate that. Got a question from Daniela. She's wondering, do you think where the website is hosted has an impact on SEO, specifically like Squarespace versus WordPress?
Yeah, both are good. Squarespace, less good. Just because, yeah, Squarespace, just from what I've seen, Squarespace not as much. WordPress is great, especially if you have a lot of plugins installed. There's obviously Yoast and Rank Math and a couple of other plugins as well. So as long as you have those installed, you're pretty much good to go.
Thank you. Got Amy. She's wondering, how critical is SEO for your website in terms of the priority order to spend time on when building a service-based business?
Service-based business. It really depends on your go-to-market, right? So for example, if I am selling, so if it's a service-based business, you're probably doing more cold outbound. So you're sending out emails. In that case, it's probably not that important to rank for keywords, but it's just important that if I type in your name, like if I type in Engyne, for example, that you actually come up at top. Like this is pretty important. So if I'm running a service-based business and I get an email from you guys and I'm like, okay, who is this company? I search it up and it's not even there. I'm very not likely to buy from you. So I think I would say, if you're a service-based business, do enough SEO so you rank #1 for your own name at least, and then you can prioritize based on how much bandwidth you have or like money you have on spending on writers.
Thank you. We got 2 questions from Addie. The first one, is it possible to change domains and transfer all the SEO rankings you've built up? And then
yeah, sorry, go on.
I'll let you do the first one first. Yeah.
The first one is a big no-no. You can't do that. Or it will just take like a couple of months before everything is moved over. And there's a lot of like technical stuff that you need to do. So one big thing is setting up redirects the same way you had on your last website to the new one. So for example, if your site is like oldsite.com/123, then everything from here has to be redirected from old site to like new site, exactly like this. And then after a couple of months, then you'll see like SEO start to recover. But it's always like a tricky thing because if you have a lot of pages, a lot of things going on, things can always go awry.
That makes sense. Thank you.
And then second part of the question, do you offer any consultations to businesses to implement these strategies?
We do. We try to help only 2 businesses at a time. So we do have 2 at the moment, but I'm happy to chat with anybody that needs help and see how we can work together.
Awesome. Got a question from Kathy. She's wondering, how important is it to post content in a subdirectory versus a subdomain? Currently, our blog site is set up in a subdomain, meaning, and then she added a link there.
It's probably like blog dot. Oh, I see it. Yeah, Kathy, I see it.
Company.com,
Yeah. So that's actually one of the reasons why we built Engyne. So anytime you have like either it's like a medium blog or like a ghost blog, you can only host them like blog.xyz.com. It's typically fine, but it doesn't give you the most of the SEO benefit. Google does say that like this is the same as having like a subdirectory like this. In practice, we've actually not seen that. This is actually highly preferred. So when you use Engyne, you actually do get the /blog, but if you're using Squarespace, Ghost, any of these, Medium even, you can only do blog dot. So I would recommend if, as much as you can, try going for like subdirectory /blog, but if you can't, then blog dot is fine as well.
Awesome. Any final questions, friends? Feel free to unmute as well. But those are all that I caught in the chat. If I missed your question, please feel free to repost it. I'll just give everyone a minute. Osama, do you have any set audit templates you recommend for SEO?
SEO
I
audit.
don't. Yeah, SEO audit. I don't at the moment. I would love to create some. I just haven't done so. So if anybody here, maybe like somebody in the Grow class has already done so, but personally not.
Jenna's wondering, what advice do you have for someone who is skeptical about getting into backlinking?
Into backlinking. Yeah, it's tough, but like I mentioned, like this is how Google works, right? So this is, if you want to look it up, it's called the PageRank algorithm, and you can like read a little bit more deeper into it. But this is how it works, right? So this is the game, and so the idea or the concept becomes like, do you want to play the game or not? So if you want to play the game, backlinks are important because Google respects them, and that's how you move up in rankings. But if you so that's the way. If you don't want to do that, then that's fine as well. You'll just be on like page 2 or 3, and the conversion rates of somebody like searching something up and then going to page 2 to like click on your link, that almost never happens. So your conversion rates are all like very low. So you're actually not going to see any benefit from your content you've written. So you want to like try building backlinks so you can come up in the top 10 search results, so you can get some customers, right?
Ariane, so you got your hand up. Pass it over to you.
Yes, I have a question. We were talking at first about copying our competitors, and this is not exactly an ethical question, but it slightly is. Like, I wouldn't want all my competitors copying me, so that seems a bit uncool. But I'm also wondering, it feels like they've maybe cornered the market on that article. So do you have advice about how to differentiate, or what do you do to make yours stand out?
Yeah. So on the first one, it's not that you want to take exactly not only the title, but actually the content as well. But it's mostly like the angle that they're going for, or the titles that they're going for, more for like brainstorming purposes. I don't definitely recommend like, copy pasting stuff. And even if you do, you'll get hit with like a duplicate content warning. So you won't even rank in the first place. So the second question was about.
Oh, like so we're looking at what they're already doing really well at. It feels easier for me to do something new than to try to compete with something that's already doing well. So I guess if you're using their same topic, like, do you have advice for putting your own twist on it or making Google like it better? What do you do about that?
Yeah, great question. So one, there's actually 10 spots, right? So there's even if they're like on number 1, if you're number 2, number 3, that's totally fine. And the other thing is they might be number 2 with that article for 1 keyword, but every page ranks for 100, 200 keywords. So in some of those places, maybe you're number 1, right? So it's not always like a person that's like a keyword, like top of the search results for this one thing is killing the game across the charts. How do you get better? there's two ways to think about it. One, from a brand perspective, of course, if you're writing about that thing, as a company, you have a different opinion about it. If you didn't have a different opinion about it, you wouldn't have started the company in the first place. And like, you know your customers well, presumably they're different than, that insight is different than what the competitor is doing, right? So that's number one, you know the customer much better and you can write for them. Number two, for like adding in more stuff, like the easiest thing to do is whatever they have, do more than that. So if they're doing like, what is privacy friendly analytics? Then you can be like, hey, examples of other websites that I have done that have privacy friendly analytics. Like that's an easy addition on top. So look for like things that are missing and try to add those in. You can even look at the top 10 articles and see like what you can immediately like start seeing, if you were the searcher, what you would want to read. And most of the things, most people don't cover that stuff. So if as a marketer, you need to come up with like what's missing and like put those things in. So you can always add stuff on top of it. And that should generally help.
Awesome. That's super helpful. Thank you.
Well, congratulations on the SEO win that you had there.
Oh yeah, I know. Blogging is kind of like a retirement account, is how I think about it. If you started long enough ago and kept at it, you can now get your retirement winnings.
Awesome. We got Daniela in the chat. She's wondering about website templates. Is there any website builder you recommend, or is it better to stick to WordPress?
Yeah, WordPress is great. I like Webflow as well. That's also good. A lot of B2B SaaS companies kind of use that. So any of those two is good.
Right. And Candace is wondering, comparing Ahrefs to SEMrush and Moz, what do you think are the main differences? Like Ahrefs subscription is more expensive and doesn't look like they have a free trial.
All three of them are more or less the same thing. So I wouldn't recommend like any one you can get, it's fine. They all have like really high quality data, and they do the job of like finding the keywords and figuring out what your competitors are doing. So I would just like pick any one of the three. It's fine. I love Ahrefs. I've had their subscription. It is expensive. Something you have to do.
Awesome. Well, we are at the top of the hour. This was such a great session. Sukh, thank you so much for your expertise, sharing all your thoughts with us today, and everyone for your great questions. Like you really filled up half an hour with just great questions and great answers. So that was awesome. I got some links in the chat for you if you want to connect with Sukh, as well as his email. So if there's any questions that we missed or anything you want to reach out for, there's his email in there as well. The session is recorded, so we'll be in your inbox soon with the replay if you need to rewatch anything. And we'll share all the links that were dropped too, because Suki had some great links that you shared. So I'll drop that in the chat, and we'll share that in the replay as well from the presentation. But yeah, thank you all for pulling up today. Thank you everyone for coming. Happy Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week, friends. Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sukh.
Bye, everyone.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Bye.